Hello everyone, I'm Devina, a user experience designer working at Adobe. Like I've been in Adobe for the past 3 years, and since the last year we've been we've been exploring SVG a lot. Like we started on with developing authoring tools where you could draw in SVG, and later on we moved into tools where you can even animate in SVG and add a lot of interactivity. So the way I've structured the presentation, we've developed a tool called SVG Interact. So I'll talk about the problem area that we were trying to solve in animation, and how is the tool different from other tools, and what can the tool achieve. Then I'll move on to a demo of what we have working. And then I'll take you through the explorations that we did in CSS and SVG animation before we started building off the tool. And in the end, I'll talk about the experiments and actually building the tool. So to give you an overview of SVG Interact, so you have a lot of tools today in the market to draw SVG. They need not all draw in SVG, they draw vector, and then you could like Illustrator, Inkscape, Mondrian, SVG edit. However, all of them are still confined to SVG drawing. So what we've tried to do, so the fact that like with inline SVG, the fact that the DOM of the SVG is exposed, and you can add a lot of CSS as well as SVG animations. We've tried exposing those that interactivity and those animations into the tool. So we've built a purely browser-based tool with no loss of fidelity, wherein, and we've even looked into making it responsive and things like that. So yeah, so the key features is firstly it is a browser tool where you can draw and animate within the browser. So no installation. You get a live rendering of your content, plus we don't even need a server to run it. Then it draws in SVG as well as exports SVG, and apart from drawing, the way we've taken it a step forward is by adding animations and interactions. So for now in the demo, we've only been able to build the CSS animation part, but the SVG animation is the CSS animation for all the descriptive properties of SVG. The SMIL animations is still a work in progress. And apart from that, another thing that we've looked into is creating responsive intelligent graphics. Now SVG by nature is responsive, wherein as you resize the browser, it automatically scales to the scales in size. But what we've done is we've tried to make we've looked into the intelligent scaling, as in a content aware scaling of SVG. So the first problem area that we aim to solve with the tool is the whole scalability of content. Now where responsive design is concerned, layout is taken care of, like with fluid grids, flexbox, media queries and all of that. But where scalability of content is concerned, of the actual graphics, it hasn't evolved. And the fact that today all the elements of an SVG are exposed, and you could use CSS properties like hide, like visibility, like to hide and show elements. We've tried exploring that to help you create graphics for multiple breakpoints, such that as you scale or as you interact with it, it kind of changes. So that was the first area. The second area is state-based animations. So you have a lot of tools again, for animation, but the problem with them is that they treat graphics as something that needs to be embedded into a page. When I say that, which means that you can't really interact with the structure, and it follows more of a storytelling approach, rather than an interaction approach. So our main focus here is adding interactivity and animations, based on CSS versus not Then the third area so the fact that SVG is XML and it is related to data, and there are a lot of possibilities of mathematically generating graphics and using a lot of equations. So the next area that we've explored is something like patterns, smart polygons, spirographs, and all, wherein we are using equations to actually control the control points on a path and create a lot of interesting creating a lot of interesting tessellations. So we've used a lot of frameworks like D3, snap.svg and all to create all of these graphics. And the last area, which would be infographics, given that you have a path, like the ability to create custom infographics where you can tie it to data such that you could have your bar chart, pie chart, any sort of customized chart which doesn't, which current tools don't give you today. So yeah, so I'll just move on to the demo. Okay, so broadly, the way the tool works is that, so these are the drawing capabilities, like rounded, rectangle, path, text, all of that. Then you have a couple of edit capabilities, like union, intersection, and all. Then you have the properties panel for the declarative properties of SVG, like fill, width, pattern. Then we've just we have a small library where, like, just to start off with, like, you could import your own SVG into the tool. But yeah, there are a couple of SVGs that come with it, and we have an interactions panel. So to tell you of how it basically works, I'll just get this folder onto the screen. Okay. So as you can see, by default, we've added the folder at 3 breakpoints, like using media queries, mobile, tablet, and desktop. What is highlighted in blue is the current selection. So this is for desktop. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll go to my hover state. So I can create states within each breakpoint. So I go to my hover state. I can change the color. So what you can see, hover is a dark pink. Desktop, desktop is a lighter pink. Same thing, I'll go to mobile. So for here, say, I'll add a gradient. So for gradients, for where visual tooling is concerned, we've added a lot of capabilities wherein you can, change the angle, change the opacity. So all of this can be modified. So same thing for the tablet. I'll go to the hover state. In this state, I'll again change the color. And then lastly, I'll go to the mobile version. I'll just make some color changes here. I'll make it blue so that, Okay, okay. So yeah, it didn't get added to the mobile. So now for the preview. So right now I'm in the desktop version. Yeah. So this is the desktop version. Like in the normal state, it's pink. As I hover, it becomes like a darker pink. Now, as I scale my browser, you can see in the tablet version, it has added the gradient, and when I hover on it, it changes color. So this is the basic way of how it works. So now I'll start building upon other things that we did, wherein you can hide elements from state to state. Where you can apply basic transforms, and you can create like a couple of interesting graphics. So the next thing I will take the example of this arrow. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, now in the example of the arrow, what I'll do is, so this is the effect I want to apply on it, apply to it on hover. So this is the desktop. So this is what I want in the hover state. So in the desktop version, what I'll do, I'll just go select these elements, go to properties, say visibility hidden. So now like the desktop doesn't have that 3D effect, hover has the 3D effect. Say I'll go ahead and just change the color in the tablet version so that you all can see the difference. Okay, so I'll go to my I'll go to the desktop version, yeah, and hit tab for the preview. So yeah, you can see as I hover on it, it adds the thing. As I resize, it changes to blue. It changes to blue with the original graphics. So this was like hiding and showing off elements. Next I'll move on to like rotation. Like couple of transforms that we worked on. So I'll select my dustbin, group it. Okay. So I have the dustbin in the desktop version. I'll create a hover state. In the hover state, I'll choose the lid. Okay. So actually, since this is work in progress, like there are like small bugs in it. Okay. So I have I have the desktop version. I'll go to the mobile version. In the mobile version, I'll select the lid, okay, and rotate it. Actually, it's flipping, but yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. So what you can see is you have the desktop. Okay, you have the desktop. You have the inverted the dustbin opening. Now in the tablet version, say I go ahead and delete couple of details. So I'll go ahead and remove these 3 lines. I'll say visibility hidden. And yeah, in the hover state, again select the lid. Oh, it's doing it again. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. So we have the dustbin. Yeah, I'll go to preview. So as you can see, you have the desktop on hovering. It is, it's rotating the lid. And as you scale, the lines on the dustbin have gone. Similarly, I could rotate and actually it's inverted it the wrong way, so you're not getting the right preview. So these were just like couple of simple animations that could be done. Like I'll show you a slightly more complex one. A slightly bigger one where we are using all of them. We are using transforms. We are using change in opacity. We are using so yeah, I group it. Scale it. Okay, so this is in the desktop. In the mobile version, I'll select the phone and rotate it. Okay. Then I go to the tablet version. In the tablet version, I'll get rid of couple of details. So I'll remove the wire as well as these dial buttons. Okay, and yeah, I'll go to the hover state. In the hover state, I'll just rotate this. Okay. So now I'm back in the desktop version. I'll choose my graphics and hit tab. So what you can see, like as you when you hover on it, the handle kind of rotates, and like as you scale it down. Oh, sorry, it's lost the selection. So the problem here is the fact that the entire, like you could have multiple graphics working in the browser. So if the selection is off the graphics, it doesn't render it, because then it's no longer in the preview. So yeah, so I basically need to select it. And then resize it, so you can see like the buttons as well as the wire has disappeared from it. So and now on hovering on it, the handle rotates. So this is what we tried achieving with states, wherein you could and yeah. So I'll show you one more transform that we've done. So this is the search. Another thing that we've built is the rounded rectangle tool, wherein the x and y height can be controlled using the x and y height of the radius can be controlled using visual controls, and there are a couple of shortcuts, to scale all of them together, or to scale just one point at a time, like only one corner at a time. So for the transformation, sorry. Yeah. So for I was talking about the DOM that we were trying to build, wherein each element of it is exposed. So yeah, the elements that are added basically can be accessed here. So in case you need to reposition them or hide an element or anything, it can all be done here. So yeah, like okay, so this is what I have like in the default state. In the hover state, I'll go ahead and make the circle into a rounded rect, and then probably change the color. Okay, so this is my desktop version. I'll select it and say tab. So you can see as I hover, it transforms from a circle into a rounded rect. So these were the basic interactivity that we were looking into, adding interactivity to icons, wherein the user experience of designing icons and improving graphics on the web can be enhanced. Apart from that, the couple of other things, like I was talking about the fact that the data points are controlled. We've even worked on a couple of smart polygons, wherein on a path, like alternate points are coordinated such that so you have one control point that modifies the inner and outer, the inner radius, and then you have the second point that actually modifies the slope. So you can see the curves are getting broader, whereas it's getting narrower. And a couple of other things like adding patterns and all is also what we've been working on. So you can add patterns to our graphics, and then scale it to get interesting patterns. Now, apart from this, another thing that we've worked on using this is the ability to repeat something on a path. So let me make a smaller. Okay, so see, I have a circle. I'll change the color. Okay, so I have a circle, I have a shape, I can repeat on path, and it repeats on it such that even if I change, I mean, even if as I modify the curve, the point, it recalculates the points at which it needs to place the elements every point in time. And so this is what it does. Now another, so even the spirograph is something that we've done, but for now it like we've not given the we've not exposed the UI wherein you know, like each parameter can, but then yeah, like where each parameter can be modified. But yeah, we've even looked into spirograph equations where people can actually create interesting patterns out of it. So also another thing that I wanted to show you all is that we've even, so yeah, we have the ellipse tool, then we have the path tool that helps you create, it's not closed. Okay, I'll just draw a circle. So I have to, I have two circles, I'll just draw one more. So operations like Boolean, wherein, you know, I select two circles, click on Boolean, and it's done. So basically what we've done is we've used snap.svg to get the area between, you know, the overlapping area, and after that, we've written an engine which helps you perform certain operations. So you have Boolean. Then you have, you know, intersection and things like, so even you can actually create a lot of interesting graphics. The same thing that you could, you know, do on Illustrator today is what we're trying to make possible using the tool. So, and also like another animation that we've looked into is like the whole changing of opacity. So say I have two colors and they both overlap, and I can, okay, so I'll keep this, I'll group it. So this is my normals, like the normal state. In the hover state, I'll probably change the opacity of the red, as well as change the opacity of the yellow. Okay, it's so the thing is, like this is not a tool in development. I mean, it's still a lot of experiments that we are still conducting to see, you know, what works with which path and what it doesn't work with. So yeah, I'll just do that again. I'll group it. So I have the desktop. In the hover state, I'll reduce the opacity. Okay. So this is my hover state. This is the normal state. So when I hit tab, this is what you will get, where the opacity of both have changed. And so one thing to note here is that we are building, like we are actually yeah, so if you inspect the element, it's in primary container. Yeah, it's in this. So if you inspect the element, you will see that for each shape, we are actually writing the entire code in SVG within your browser. And even another way of exporting the code for the graphics you create here would be just selecting the element and going to export. Even that would give you the list of all the calculations. So what I showed you all was broadly the tool that we developed. I mean, it's still a work in progress. So like looking into, drawing on path like other SVG animations is something, and infographics and all is something that we still need to add into. So the thing is, when we started off the project, we wanted to explore CSS and SVG animations, so we created a site. We thought of taking the story of, taking the T story as our theme to go ahead doing the graphics. So we view, I'll come to how each of them was created. Like, come let's have a coffee is a simple transition. A cup of tea is text on path. Then we've used a couple of masking, the kettle rotating, even the bounce, the bubbles that you can see, again is using transitions. We've used masking and all. So this is where we plan to get to, in trying to develop the tool. This was just to see what all was possible on the web. Then this is, the leaf is, moving on a path. The steam is drawing itself on a path, we've used gradients and things like that. So I know that this is not a good practice of, creating your entire web page in SVG, but for us, we were just trying to showcase all the SVG animations. So it was basically just for storytelling purpose, no functionality. And then, to get that parallax effect again, a couple of transitions have been used. Also, another thing that we looked into is the whole usage of web components, wherein each teacup is a web component. It is called multiple times and only the variables are changed. And even animations can be added as a web component, such that this is consumption. So based on the parameter, you could either rotate it or fill the cup. So this is production. Then this is consumption. This is temperature, based on which countries prefer drinking tea hot or versus which prefer drinking cold. So these were a couple of things that we did. So just to run through a couple of, so this is a simple text on path. You have a text definer path and then for this we used CSS animation, where you define your element, apply the CSS and it's done. Now for things where for things like path and all, which SVG doesn't support, we would need SMIL animation. So for that, so say I have, you can make your graphic follow a certain path. So I have this path, I'll hide the path. I can start the animation. So these are simple SVG animations for things that CSS doesn't support. Then apart from moving on a path, even you have line drawing. So here the exercise was more to understand each of these components, because in looking at patterns and in seeing how it is done, we would be able to actually create an authoring tool that would make all of this possible. So yeah, I mean, you just have to use an animate attribute to draw the steam along a path. So now that was animations. Moving on to interactions, the fact that you could use CSS, you could use a lot of these hover classes that, a lot of these, not hover, pseudo classes that helps you add a lot of interactivity. So you just apply a class and you say that, colon hover and, and give the transformation properties. So apart from that, SVG has evolved to even allow, a couple of other things. So drawing a path and moving around a path is simple, but you could even actually, draw your own path in SVG. So, okay. So I have my path. Okay, so this is the leaf, and I've just asked it to, follow the path. Yeah, so smart polygons and all I showed you all. The spirograph as well, I showed you all in the demo. So for web components, I have a small demo working. So here, basically, you call out a web component just once. And then, each time I say add, it just adds the component, and then I could, just add the value, say enter, and it fills the cup. I can just change, and it updates there. So I can do that. So for consumption, temperature, it works for all that. So in web, so in web components earlier when you did it, you had to define each ID, each path, each element separately, and do it multiple times, as well as add the interaction for each of them. Now the newer code, you just call it out once, change the variables, and it's kind of done. The same thing even for multiple cups. You just call out the number of cups you want to add. So yeah, this is just the browser support. So this is browser support only for inline SVG. As you can see, it is supported well across all browsers except for Opera Mini. Yeah.
Is there any question? Okay, don't be shy, I'll start. So the tool you presented, you said it's a work in progress?
Yeah.
Do you have like a roadmap or something, deadline for releasing a first version?
No, so actually, so here, we were just experimenting to see what all is possible. So once for now it is just at the experimentation stage. We were just trying to explore states and see within SVG which all, because the challenge here being that a rounded rectangle, a path, each element, operates differently. As you all saw in the demo, if I, make a boolean with a rounded rectangle and an ellipse, it may not work, but if I do it with an ellipse and ellipse, it will work. So the challenge for us is to actually identify, which combination permutations work, and then accordingly see what can be done. So yeah, as in there's no roadmap for it as such.
Questions? Yes. So for the app, you guys use a particular JavaScript framework or something like that for your client side co-organization or whatever?
Yeah, for the interactivity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which JavaScript? Which library?
So we are using Snap for all the so for different parts we are using different things. So we are using for the spirograph we are using D3. Then for Boolean and all we are using Snap. Then the polygon we are not using, the smart polygon that you saw, for that we are not using any framework. There we are calculating, and we've written algorithms to actually to manipulate, to control couple of alternate points and manipulate them together. And we are using Snap for something else. Which one was left? Yeah, as in we're using Snap for 2, and so we're using a mixture of them.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions if you have. Yeah.
I guess we're trying to get to grips with the different applications and how to put all this stuff together. Does this mean that there's less focus on Illustrator, trying to get some kind of workflow? Do you know what I mean? Looking at other applications rather than looking at workflow out of Illustrator.
So the thing is, Illustrator is is not SVG focused, as in, SVG is one of the outputs that it gives. So what we were and because of the output, like adding interactions and intelligence to it wouldn't be as straightforward. That's the reason why we are, trying. So the audience, so Illustrator is a purely is meant for designers. This tool is meant for designer developers, like designers who are technically sound, or even developers who want to get their work done faster.
Does it lead to real sort of projects rather? I mean, sort of like Edge Animate is, it's kind of to do with prototyping.
Yeah.
There's a not guarantee, but this is the way it's moving towards real kind of integration with live projects. Is that right?
Yeah. So this is just small SVG components where we are trying to look into like animations and interactivity. So as I said, like the product is, not on the roadmap. This was just some internal experiment that we conducted, and surprisingly it came out, it went pretty far, much farther than what we expected.
Okay, this time